Good evening, I'm Bristol Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. Have you been wearing one of these in public lately? Soon you may not be able to leave your house without one because the government may make it compulsory. In a special address today, Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin revealed that the government is considering making the use of face masks compulsory to further curb the spread of COVID-19.
Kerajaan juga sedang menimbang untuk mewajibkan pemakaian pelitup muka di tempat-tempat awam. Perincian mengenai ini akan diumumkan apabila peraturan yang berkaitan dimuktamadkan oleh kerajaan. Dalam fasa Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan Pemulihan atau PKPP ini, setiap individu keluarga dan komuniti adalah petugas barisan hadapan atau frontliners.
Muhyiddin also issued a stern reminder for Malaysians to comply with the government guidelines to reduce the spread of COVID-19. The Prime Minister warned that if the COVID-19 infections go up, the government would then be forced to impose another lockdown and the economy would suffer.
Maka impaknya pada ekonomi amat besar sekali. Penutupan semula sektor-sektor ekonomi boleh menyebabkan negara kehilangan sekurang-kurangnya 2 bilion ringgit sehari dan secara langsung menyebabkan kehilangan sumber pendapatan bagi jutaan pekerja di Malaysia.
He also warned that those who breach the rules will face fines and stiffer penalties are being considered. Muhyiddin's warning comes as new COVID-19 clusters begin to emerge in recent days.
Saya selalu berpesan supaya saudara-saudari semua elakkan berjabat tangan. Saya tengok sekarang dah ada yang bukan saja berjabat tangan, malah berpeluk-pelukan ketika berjumpa sahabat handai dan sanak saudara. Ya, itu bagus untuk eratkan persahabatan dan persaudaraan. Tetapi jangan kita lupa, kita masih berada dalam fasa pemulihan COVID-19.
The Prime Minister had good reason to warn Malaysians because today we saw the highest number of new cases in a month. 21, that's the number of new COVID-19 cases reported by the Health Ministry today. A new cluster at an old folks' home in Kluang, Johor is the largest contributor to the spike in daily cases. 13 cases were from the cluster, making today's daily infections the highest level in a month. The last time the country recorded the same figure or higher was on June 20th. Health Ministry Director General Dr Noor Hisham said the new cluster was discovered after a 72-year-old man was brought dead on arrival to hospital in Encik Besar Hajah Kalsum on July 17th. He was reported as the 123rd COVID-19 death yesterday. Following the incident, active case detection was initiated, where 39 people have since been screened. 14 were positive for COVID-19, including the fatality yesterday. 19 were negative and 7 are pending results. Dr Hisham said the 14 comprised 11 elderly residents, 1 worker and 1 family member. The 13 new cases were part of the 15 local transmissions recorded today. The remaining 2 local transmissions involve a Malaysian and a non-citizen who were both detected during pre-surgery screening in Negeri Sembilan and Johor respectively. Meanwhile, Malaysia also reported 6 imported cases involving 4 Malaysians and 2 non-citizens returning from the Philippines, India, Russia and Denmark. With the new cases, there are now 122 active COVID-19 cases. Former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak was able to go to Parliament on Thursday last week after the Dewan Rakyat Speaker wrote to the court. Today, Azhar defended his move. PKR's Tanjung Malim MP Chang Lee Kang today quizzed Dewan Rakyat Speaker Azhar Azizan Harun on why it was necessary for him to write to the High Court in Kuala Lumpur last week, asking the court to consider ending Najib Abdul Razak's 1MDB trial early so the Pekan MP can debate in Parliament.
You takut apa? Takut apa dengan Pekan?
Saya tak takut. Saya tanya Tuan Speaker. Tak, Tuan Speaker, cuma minta penjelasan. Apakah keperluan? Terima kasih.
The Speaker defended his move on the matter.
Keperluannya ialah YB Pekan punya masa untuk diperbahaskan usul titah deraja itu ialah pukul 3.40 pada hari tersebut. Kemudian pada paginya saya difahamkan beliau meminta pertangguhan kes untuk datang ke parlimen tetapi dinafikan. Jadi kita ni ada doktrin pembahagian kuasa di mana kuasa-kuasa di antara mahkamah, eksekutif dan parlimen itu sama. Di UK parlimen supreme, parlimen yang di atas. Di sini semua ketiga-tiganya sama. Jadi saya berpendapat bahawa oleh kerana slot yang berhormat pekan pada petang itu, maka saya ingin memohon pertimbangan Yang Arif Hakim ya agar menimbangkan permohonan untuk beliau dibenarkan untuk datang ke parlimen. Itu saja. Saya tak perintah, saya tak apa-apa pun.
Last week, Judge Colin Lawrence Sequeira initially rejected a request from Najib's lawyers for the trial on Thursday to end at 1:30 p.m. so that the former Prime Minister could go to Parliament. However, Najib's legal team then produced a letter from Azhar on Thursday. This prompted Sequeira to call back the prosecution and defence from recess and hold the trial through the lunch break until 3:15 p.m. Najib went on to debate the King's speech in the Dewan Rakyat, arguing that banks should make a sacrifice by extending the loan moratorium to their customers. Chang Azhar whether he aimed to set a precedent on the matter.
Sudahlah, tak boleh layan semua ni. Tak payah layan lah.
Boleh tak kita
Tuan Speaker,
mulakan
saya rasa ini
Buang masa saya.
satu perkara yang
Why so
serius.
important about that?
Sebab giliran pekan dia boleh ditunda ataupun diawalkan yang tidak clash dengan proceeding mahkamah. Sebab
tak ada
kami di sini pun
Bagilah speaker discretion.
ada kes mahkamah.
Itu
takkan
Why you
setiap
teaching
kali
the speaker?
tak
itu budi bicara
bukan
saya.
teaching, I'm trying to ask.
Itu budi bicara saya.
Ya.
Dia meminta
Adakah
pada
speaker
petang tu,
tak? Tuan Speaker, adakah speaker nak set satu presiden bahawa setiap orang yang ada kes mahkamah, Tuan Speaker akan tulis
Tak
surat
perlu
kepada
belayan
mahkamah
dan
untuk
speaker
melakukan proceeding?
Wabi, sebelum
Tak payah layan.
sebelum ini ada juga ahli parlimen yang diberi penangguhan kes selama amat lama untuk datang ke parlimen.
If you ever wondered how much the current Prasarana chairperson is paid, he was more than happy to reveal it in Parliament today. Harapan's Johor Bahru MP Akmal Nasir claimed in the Dewan Rakyat today that there were at least 50 GLC political appointees receiving an average salary of 50,000 ringgit per month, not including allowances which could cost the government 25 million ringgit per year. Responding to this, BN's Pasir Salah MP Tajuddin Abdul Rahman revealed that his salary as Prasarana chairperson was far less than that.
Ini ada satu fitnah dan tuduhan, tohmahan yang berat, yang jahat. Saya pengurusi Prasarana. Tahu saya siapa?
Tanya YB punya gaji berapa?
Saya punya gaji, saya bagi tahu sekarang. Duduk, tak ada hal. We are very transparent. 8,000 saja. 8,000 saja. Udah? Ni udah di belakang ni, 8,000 juga.
Padang Terap MP Madze Khalid also denied receiving a 1 million ringgit allowance in his capacity as TNB chairperson. However, he did not disclose his salary as the head of the National Energy Company. Since coming to power, the PN government has appointed more than 3 dozen of its MPs as heads of GLCs, government agencies, and newly created diplomatic positions. The country's oldest Malay language newspaper is back on newsstands. Utusan Malaysia, the country's oldest Malay language newspaper, which ceased operations last year over financial problems, has made a comeback, this time with a promise of truthful, credible and objective reporting. Utusan returned with the slogan Pemikiran Baru or New Thinking, with its front-page headline proclaiming, quote, Bangkit Semula or Rise Once More, which leads to a report on Malaysia's ability to recover from an economic downturn due to the COVID-19 pandemic. During the era of the BN administration prior to GE14, Utusan faced allegations of being a political tool of the ruling government. One of its majority shareholders had been UMNO. However, Utusan now plans to shed its old image. In a message on Utusan's return after 9 months, Media Mulia Group editor Muhammad Azlan Jafar said the Daily now aims to restore readers' confidence with the dissemination of information that is trustworthy and thought-provoking. He said now credibility will be the backbone of their operation. Utusan was first published in Jawi in 1939 before it switched to the Romanized Malay in 1967. Coming up next, the COVID-19 situation in the US may be spinning out of control. $5,600 people have died in Sweden since the pandemic began, but that's the number COVID-19 is killing in just 1 week in the US. US deaths from the novel coronavirus topped 140,000 on Saturday, as most cases continue to rise in 42 out of 50 states over the past 2 weeks, according to a Reuters tally. Since late June, the United States has seen a resurgence in new cases, and now, 6 weeks later, deaths have also been rising, according to a weekly Reuters analysis of state and county data. America is losing about 5,000 people to the virus every week. By contrast, neighboring Canada has reported total deaths of 8,800 since the pandemic started. In just 1 week, the United States records about as many deaths as the 5,600 lives Sweden has lost since the pandemic began earlier this year. In the hardest hit US counties, officials are running out of places to store dead bodies as their morgues fill up. Arizona's Maricopa County, home to the state's largest city, Phoenix, is bringing 14 coolers to hold up to 280 bodies and more than double the capacity of morgues ahead of an expected surge of coronavirus fatalities, officials said on Thursday. In Texas, the city of San Antonio have acquired 5 refrigerated trailers to store up to 180 bodies. The appearance of such mobile morgues have fed to the sense in some southern states that the pandemic appears to be spinning out of control. The UAE is aiming for the stars with its space program by having their eyes set on Mars. The United Arab Emirates launched its first mission to Mars on Monday as it strives to develop its scientific and technological capabilities and reduce its reliance on oil. The Hope probe blasted off from Japan's Tanegashima Space Center at 6:58 a.m. Japanese time on Monday for a 7-month journey to the Red Planet, where it will orbit and send back data about the atmosphere. The first Arab mission to Mars was initially due to launch on July 14th, but has been delayed due to bad weather. Just over half an hour after launch, the probe deployed solar panels to power its systems and establish radio communications with the mission on Earth. There are currently 8 active missions exploring Mars. Some orbit the planet and some have landed on its surface. China and the United States each plan to send another this year. The Emirates Mars mission has cost $200 million, according to Minister of Advanced Sciences Sarah Amiri. It aims to provide a complete picture of the Martian atmosphere for the first time, studying daily and seasonal changes. The UAE first announced plans for a mission in 2014 and launched a national space program in 2017 to develop local expertise. Its population of 9.4 million, most of whom are foreign workers, lack the scientific and industrial base of the big spacefaring nations. It has an ambitious plan for a Mars settlement by 2117. Azhar Al-Mansouri became the first Emirati in space last September when he flew to the International Space Station. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Professor Michael. Thank you for watching and don't forget one of these.